Chapter 1. Beck's jaw clenched as he stepped out of his sleek black foreign-made sedan, the biting winter air assaulting his face like tiny needles. His gaze swept over the quaint street, lined with cheerful houses adorned in twinkling lights and gaudy decorations. The festive atmosphere felt like a personal affront to his sour mood. "Charming," he muttered sarcastically, his breath forming a small cloud in the frigid air. "Just what I need. A freaking holiday movie set." He slammed the car door with more force than necessary, the sound reverberating through the quiet neighborhood. A nearby dog started barking, and he rolled his eyes. Perfect. Just perfect. Every step he took as he strode towards his new condo felt like a nail in the coffin of his career. How had it come to this? One minute he was closing million-dollar deals in a corner office overlooking Central Park, and the next he was being shipped off to small-town nowhere like some corporate castaway. His fingers tightened around his briefcase. "Temporary assignment, my ass," he grumbled, recalling the patronizing tone of the CEO as he delivered the news. "We need someone with your expertise to oversee the expansion in Bellamere." Bellamere. Of course, it had to be somewhere with a name that sounded like it belonged on a Christmas card. Expertise. Right. As if managing a quaint Main Street storefront was anything like navigating the cutthroat world of Manhattan real estate. A cheery, "Welcome to the neighborhood," called out from across the street made Beck's shoulders tense. He turned, fixing the overly friendly neighbor with an icy stare that could have frozen lava. "Thanks," he replied curtly, not bothering to slow his pace or soften his expression. The last thing he needed was to get roped into some inane small talk about the weather or local gossip. Approaching his condo, he felt a flicker of relief at its modern architecture amidst the sea of traditional homes. At least here, he could pretend he wasn't completely cut off from civilization. Maybe if he squinted hard enough, he could imagine the sleek lines were skyscrapers, instead of a sad attempt at a contemporary design in the middle of nowhere. "Home sweet home," Beck muttered sarcastically, fishing his keys from his pocket. "Let the exile begin." Later on, his hand froze on the doorknob when he caught sight of the moving truck parked haphazardly in front of the condo. A gaggle of workers in faded uniforms swarmed around it, hauling boxes and furniture with a lackadaisical air that set his teeth on edge. "Careful with that," he barked, striding towards a burly mover who was manhandling his prized Eames chair. "That's worth more than you make in a year." The man shot back a look of barely concealed disdain. "Sure thing, boss," he drawled, adjusting his grip with exaggerated care. Beck pinched the bridge of his nose, feeling a headache brewing. This was not how he'd envisioned starting his day. He'd hoped to at least have a moment of peace before diving into the chaos of unpacking. "Is there a problem here?" A voice tinged with amusement cut through Beck's irritation. He turned to find himself face to face with a man who could only be the head of the moving crew. The guy's serene smile and relaxed posture grated on Beck's already frayed nerves. "The problem," Beck replied, his tone clipped and precise, "is that your team seems to have confused my belongings with sacks of potatoes. I expect everything to be handled with the utmost care." The supervisor's smile didn't waver. "Of course, Mr. Walsh. We'll make sure everything's treated like fine china." Beck narrowed his eyes, trying to determine if he was being mocked. "See that you do," he said finally, turning on his heel